Yo, 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 what's good, everybody? It's your boy, Duck Zone 503. You know what it is, man. If you ain't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join the family. We talk all things Oregon football around here. And today, man, we have an Oregon football update, man. We officially have hired the full coaching staff, man. Officially, every position's filled out. I think all we need is a couple analysts here and there. But I'm gonna break it down for y'all, man. I'm gonna go over each coach, man. It's a brand new coaching staff, man. All around the board, from the head coach to every position coach. It's all new. So let's go ahead, man. Let's get a little more familiar, break it down, see where they came from, get a little background on them. And yeah, I wrote some notes down here. And this video is going to specifically be about the offensive Oregon coaches. And then I'm gonna have another video coming out for the defensive Oregon coaches. So let's get it started here, man. You know what it is. All right, so we got the head coach, Dan Lanning, man. As most of y'all know, Dan Lanning comes from the Georgia Bulldogs. He's the defensive coordinator slash outside linebacker. What's up, Luna? Sorry, y'all. My cat's over here. He just got a bath. He's all shaking off and stuff. But anyways, man, he's the defensive coordinator, outside linebackers coach from 2019 to the 2021 season for the Georgia Bulldogs. And man, I'm excited for this, man. What is there not to be excited about? Young coach. It's one thing to note, though, he does not have any head coaching experience. So you do have to note that here, no head coaching experience, but he has the most potential, in my opinion. You know, it's like going to the casino and, you either go all in or you're going to play it safe. I feel like Oregon's going all in. You know, there's high potential. He has the highest potential to take us to the promised land, but he also has the lowest floor if he doesn't get it done, in my opinion. So we'll see how this goes. He played linebacker at William Jewell College, a little college out there. So he knows the position. He played it. So there's that. On December 11th, he was officially named the 35th head coach of Oregon football. So congratulations on that, being the 35th coach, man. Hopefully we can get a national championship from my 35th coach. All right. And Lanning signed a 6-year deal worth $29.1 million. So man's getting paid for sure. After Mel Tucker left for Colorado after the 2018 season, Lanning was promoted to the defensive coordinator in addition to his duties as outside linebackers coach. So he was originally 2019 hired on as the outside linebackers coach. And then what happened was, as Mel Tucker left for Colorado, and then he went from Colorado to Michigan State. But besides the point on that, Lanning was promoted from just a position coach to co-defensive coordinator, so managing the whole defense as well. And Georgia's defense was historically great. We'll break down the numbers here in a second. Let's go over his coaching history a little bit. So he started out in 2008. From 2008 to 2010, spent 2 years at a high school as a special teams coach. He worked with defensive backs and wide receivers there as well. So 2 years starting out in high school. Then he became a grad assistant in Pittsburgh in 2011. Spent some time there. A year later, he becomes a grad assistant at Arizona State, Pac-12 school. So that's something to note there. He has a little bit of Pac-12 ties a little bit there. 2013, he got promoted to the recruiting coordinator from grad assistant to recruiting coordinator in Arizona State in 2013. Come to 2014, he goes to Sam Houston State. He's the DB coach and co-recording coordinator there. So he actually becomes a position coach at Sam Houston State in 2014. In 2015, he goes to Alabama, Georgia. Oh, excuse me. Alabama as a general assistant. I was reading that wrong. Excuse me. My bad there. But he goes to Alabama, makes a huge jump, becomes a grad assistant in Alabama, and goes 2016, 2017. He takes the Alabama experience as a grad assistant and goes to Memphis under Mike Norvell, under that Mike Norvell tree as an inside linebackers position coach / recruiting coordinator. So as you can see in his coaching history here, he's a great recruiter. He's been a recruiter for years now, since about 2014 was his first time being a big time recruiter there. And Memphis, that Memphis team was really great. And inside linebackers, he was coaching up linebackers there. In 2018, he comes to Georgia as the outside linebackers coach. And then in 2019 to 2021, he becomes the defensive coordinator as well when Mel Tucker left. And from 2018 to 2021, man, Georgia's defense every year has been dominant. So, with the talent we have, man, I'm very excited for this. So let's go over Georgia's defense, man. This year, these are their rankings in 2021. So Georgia allowed only 9.8 points per game. Number one in all of college football. That is historically great. To hold, especially in the SEC, hold opponents under 10 points is really good. Yards per game, opponents' yards per game, 269 yards per game. That's number 3 in all of college football. Opponents' points per play. I'm not gonna read that stat. I have the wrong stat. Excuse that. Opponent's yard per play. They're only getting about 4 yards every play. That's number 2 in all college football. And opponent red zone scoring, 57%, 57% in opponent red zone scoring. So holding your opponents to 57% scoring in the red zone, that's historically great. Number 1 all of college football. So as you can see, man, Dan Lanning has a lot to offer here, and I'm very excited. This is a home run hire, in my opinion. I'll give this a 10 out of 10 with the candidates we had out there. We had guys like Justin Wilcox, don't get me wrong, no disrespect, but he didn't do very well with Cal, in my opinion. I mean, we got to get a big time guy, and getting a young guy on top of that is great. I think being young, he's going to connect with the players very well. So that's awesome. He's an elite recruiter, so no drop off there. He's going to bring guys in just like Cristobal is. And I really do think he's going to get the most out of Sewell and Flo, better than Cristobal could have, and that staff. And Ken Wilson. I really think that Lanning is gonna do great things. You've seen that with Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean. Man, he's gonna be great, and I'm very excited. So Dan Lanning, our head coach, that's great. Now let's move on. Let's go to the co-offensive coordinator. Now there's gonna be a lot of co-positions here. The staff seems to be like meshing different positions in instead of just one thing. It's kind of let's do this all together, which is interesting. So we got a co-offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach, which is going to be important with these young quarterbacks. Kenny Dillingham. So Dilly. Kenny Dillingham, his former team was Florida State. He was the offensive coordinator and QB's coach there from 2020 to 2021. 31 years old, man. So another young coach, man, under that Mike Norvell coaching tree. So has some experience there with Dan Lanning. He began his coaching career real young, only 17 years old. He began his coaching career after tearing his ACL after his senior year playing football. So started right out the gates. So that's good to hear. 2017, 2018, when he coached Memphis, or coached under Mike Norvell in Memphis, the Memphis offense was back-to-back top 5 offenses in college football under Dillingham. He also coached Bo Nix, the transfer that's coming in. Bo Nix was named the SEC Rookie of the Year under his time at Auburn. So that's something really good. His final game versus Alabama, they put up 48 points against that great Alabama team in his final game there at Auburn. And on December 17th, 2021, Dillingham was hired as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Oregon. So that's good there. No real contract numbers on that I have here, so can't give you that information. But let's break down the coaching history here. So in 2007, excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. 2007 to 2012, he started out in high school, Arizona high school, as a QB's coach. So he spent 5 years there after he tore his ACL. Then 2013. He becomes an offensive coordinator / QB's coach. So he actually becomes a coordinator in 2013 after spending 5 years being a QB's coach after tearing his ACL there. So that's good to hear. And then 2014, 2015 at Arizona State, he becomes an OA. And then in 2016, he goes to Memphis as a grad assistant. Then 2017, the next year, he gets promoted to QBs and tight ends. In 2018, he becomes the offensive coordinator and QB's coach. So really from 2016, 2018, really worked his way up there in Memphis. And Memphis 2018 teared it up. So that's good to see. 2019, he went to Auburn. He was the offensive coordinator and QB's coach with Bo Nix. We played Auburn in the first game of the 2019 season. And as you know, Auburn beat us in that last second touchdown. Still haunts me to this day, but it's something to note there. Then the next year, he hops to Florida State to become the offensive coordinator and QB's coach. And, only had 1 year, didn't really get much done there before coming to Oregon now. So let's break down Florida State's offense. Now, Florida State's offense was middle of the pack here. Points per game, they averaged 28.5, which is number 57th. Yards per game, they averaged 383.5, which is number 74, lower tier in college football. And the red zone scoring, though, something to note here, is top 10 in the nation, 92% red zone scoring. That's really good. But other than that, not too impressed with Florida State's offense. Now, I don't know how much responsibility you want to put on Dillingham for that or Florida State's roster, because we all know Florida State's roster isn't what it was. You know what I mean? So, I think this is a solid hire. I'm interested to see how he develops our young quarterbacks, because by all means, I hope we get a quarterback in here that's not a transfer. And, we'll get into that. We'll get into Bo Nix in another video, but I really want to see these young guys come in and have Oregon build a quarterback. Florida State's offense, their rankings are not impressive, but their offensive line was one of the worst in the nation. All right. Well, that breaks down Kenny Dillingham. Let's get to running backs coach Carlos Lachlan here. Carlos Lachlan, not a familiar name at all, so really had to dig deep and find some information on him. But his former team, he coached running backs at Western Kentucky this last season. He's only been there for 1 season so far. He was the director of high school relations at Memphis and Florida State in 2019 at Memphis, and in 2020 at Florida State. He was an offensive analyst and a weight room assistant the prior 2 years before that. Was an offensive coordinator for 8 years at 4 different high schools in the Memphis area. So has some high school coaching experience for about a decade, almost 8 years. So played running back and DB at Chattanooga. He had a brief stint with the New York Giants, some NFL experience, and also played in the AFL, so the Arena Football League. So man's had some experience there. Let's see. Western Kentucky did not run the ball that much, so it's going to be kind of hard to break him down based on Western Kentucky's rushing stats, because they just don't run the ball. They only ran the ball 32%, almost dead last in college football. So Western Kentucky was a top offense in 2021, but they mostly did it through passing. And he is the running backs coach. Maybe he has something to say with running backs blocking, though, because in order to pass really good, you need those running backs to block. So there's that. I'm not sure what I think about this hire. Time will tell to see if he can develop running backs or recruit. There's not much of a resume from him or experience, and there's not any really notable players that he's worked with. So I'm interested to see how he does. I can't knock the guy. I can't say he's going to be bad. I can't say he's going to be good. So let's just let time do its thing and see how he does. All right, let's move on. Now we got another co-offensive coordinator. So he will be running the offense with Dillingham, and he's also the wide receivers coach here. Junior Adams here. His former team was the Washington Huskies, our rival. From 2019 to 2021, he spent seasons at Washington. He's a former wide receiver from Oregon State. He went to Oregon State, and he was also a wide receiver at Montana State. He's a 2010 FCS national champion coach, coaching at Eastern Washington. So something to note there. He coached two-time Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year and Walter Payton Award winner Cooper Kupp. So that's something to note there. Cooper Kupp's a big-time NFL player, so working with him is something to note. Boise State had their first pair of 1,000-yard receivers in the same season. That's in 2016. So he had Boise State going off there in receiving yards. Offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach at Western Kentucky through 2017 to 2019 before he went to Washington. And he also served as the interim offensive coordinator for Washington's final 3 games. So I know Washington's offense was not very impressive the last couple of years, but let's get into his coaching history and let's break some things down. So 2004 to 2006, he started at Montana State as wide receivers coach and kick returners. Then in 2007, he went to a high school in Washington to coach wide receivers and kick returners. Then in 2008, he went to Chattanooga as an assistant. 2009 to 2013, he served at Eastern Washington coaching wide receivers, and that's where he won a national championship and worked with Cooper Kupp there. 2014 to 2015, he went to Boise State to work with wide receivers, and that's where they had their first pair of 1,000-yard receivers in the same season. 2016, Boise State, he became the passing game coordinator. That was actually the year 2016 when he became the passing coordinator. So that's good to hear. And then 2017 to 2018, he spent time at Western Kentucky as the offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. And then 2019 to 2021, he was the Washington wide receivers coach, and now he's at Oregon. So originally, my first reaction was this wasn't a good hire based on Washington's pass game being so bad these past 2 years. But the more I looked into it, the more I tend to really like him and realize it was more of Washington's bad quarterbacks instead of bad receivers. Now, Washington had some damn good receivers, but who was their really good quarterback? They didn't really have good quarterback play. They had average quarterback play. I wouldn't say it was horrible, but, and then he actually bring in really good receivers at UW. You got to admit, some of these guys are really, really talented. And working with Cooper Kupp, that's something to note there. One of the best receivers in the NFL. It's awesome. So really excited for this hire and interested to see how he recruits and does. And he has ties to the West Coast. So let's do it. All right. So now we get into tight ends coach, Drew Maringer. Hope I'm saying that right. Maringer. Not sure how to really pronounce his name just yet. But his former team was New Mexico. He coached at New Mexico. He was the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach there this last year. So now he's switching to tight ends. Interested to see how that's gonna go. He's 34 years old, so another young coach here. Played quarterback at Rice, so that's awesome. Played quarterback, but he's gonna be coaching tight ends, so something to keep note of. So let's go to his coaching history here. From 2007 2009, he got his start as a student assistant at Rice. So he was a student there and assisting things. 2010 to 2011, he went to Iowa State as a grad assistant. And he went to, from 2012 to 2013, he went to Ohio State as a grad assistant. Then in 2014, he goes to James Madison as a co-offensive coordinator and QB's coach there. Officially gets a nice position coach job. And then 2015, he goes to wide receivers and recruiting coordinator at Houston. 2016, he jumps to the Rutgers as the offensive coordinators and QB's coach. So he goes back to what he was originally coaching back in 2014. Then let's jump to 2017 to 2019. He goes to Texas as a wide receivers coach and a PGC. I wish I would have wrote down what that meant, but he was a PGC and a wide receivers coach. And then we have Florida Atlantic. He in 2020, so he spent some years in Texas. Then in 2020, he goes to Florida Atlantic as the co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. And then in 2021, he jumps to New Mexico and becomes the co-offensive coordinator and QB's coach there. And now he comes to Oregon and his first time ever coaching tight ends. So that's something I noticed, that he never coached tight ends. Wondering how he's going to do there. And for the first time, because, it's his first time coaching tight ends, and now he's a quarterbacks coach. So I'm pretty sure, as a quarterback, you got to know every position, the ins and outs of it. So I'm sure he'll do well there. So yeah, that breaks down Drew Maringer there. Let's get to the offensive lineman coach, Adrian Clem. This is one I'm really excited about. Let's break it down. Adrian Clem, he was the Pittsburgh Steelers assistant O-line coach from 2019 to 2021. He was a former NFL player for the New England Patriots from 2000 to 2004, and then he played for my Green Bay Packers. Go Pack Go! 2005. I'm also a Packers fan, if y'all don't know, for the NFL. So let's get to his coaching history here. In 2008, he started at SMU as a grad assistant, and then a year later, he gets promoted as offensive line coach. And then a year later from that, he becomes the recruiting coordinator on top of being the offensive line coach. And then in 2012 to 2013, he actually was the run game coordinator and offensive line coach for UCLA. So that's interesting to note there. And then in 2014 to 2016, he becomes the associate head coach and run game coordinator and offensive line. So a lot of duties there from 2014 to 2016 at UCLA. Then after 2016, he goes ahead and gets promoted to the NFL. And or I think he took some time off. It looks like from 2016, he took some time off. And then in 2019, he pops back up as the assistant offensive line coach. So that's awesome to hear. And then on 2021, he becomes the head offensive line coach. And now he's going to be the run game coordinator and offensive line coach here at Oregon. So if he's the run game coordinator, that means that running backs coach is just primarily going to be developing and probably recruiting. So that's interesting to see here. Let's see Pittsburgh Steelers 2021 offensive rankings. This is NFL rankings, keep in mind. Now, they were not that great. Their worst stat being yards per play. They only got 5 yards per play, and that does tell something about the offensive line. If you had a good offensive line, your yards per play should be up top half of the NFL. Yards per game, they were 22nd, and the bottom half of the NFL, 316 yards, not that great. Third and fourth down conversions, they were number 16 and number 24, again, middle of the pack there. So, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I looking into them and hearing some chats and Twitter and stuff, they were happy to see him go. They did not like how he developed their offensive line and how it was ran. But in my opinion, I just think it was more of the players instead of a coaching issue. And I think him being having West Coast ties here and college football, I think he's going to do better here in college football. So I'm excited about this. It's always great when you get somebody with NFL experience. That's a great point there. When you can say you came from the NFL, it makes young recruits that know you're official, they know what you're talking about. They know you've been through it. And you played in it and you coached the NFL. So, that's something that's going to be great for Oregon, especially in recruiting. Yes, Pac-12 recruits as well. So overall, it's a really good hire. I'm excited. All right. So that breaks down the whole offensive staff for Oregon. Is my thoughts overall. The positives is Lanning is a great young coach who's coached, probably the best defense in the last 2 years. We have a mix of good recruiters and West Coast connected guys. They're all young, they're up and coming, and they want to prove themselves. So I think those are all positives leaning towards Oregon's direction. The negatives here, there's not a lot of experience with this coaching staff. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. There's a lot of risk here with this new coaching staff, given that it's a big opportunity for everybody here. And everybody's going to, I hope, with them being young, I hope nobody wants to be that guy. I hope they all can kind of mesh together and really give everybody a chance to coach the way they want. Because if there's ego involved with how young they're being, it's going to be hard for everybody to mesh, especially with the system I see them trying to run here. It's everybody's kind of getting a duty. So, I hope for the best. And my next video will be breaking down the defense, and we'll get to that. So be interested if you're interested in that. We'll break down the defensive coaches, and this is the video of the offensive coaches. We talk all things Oregon football. You know what it is? It's Go Ducks, baby. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, man. Give me a like, man. Give us a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, man, if you want to stay connected. Go Ducks, baby. You know what it is.